Okay, so first let's talk about the little tune you were writing. And before you start playing it, let's decide what key you were in. So we kind of figured that out. So what key was it?
G sharp or A flat.
Right. Let's figure out what key. Let's figure out if you want to think of it as A flat or G sharp. And the best way to do that, I guess, it doesn't really matter. There's really a couple ways to determine which is better. If it's modulating, maybe you'll feel more comfortable with certain keys. Like if it's going to C sharp, then you might want to think about it as A flat to D flat. You may or may not be comfortable with C sharp major. So that's one thing to think about. Another one is the actual notes in the scale. Like how many flats are in the key of A flat?
Four.
Yeah, and here's kind of one of the things you can do is just count the black keys. 3, 4. So F is 1, B flat is 2, E flat is 3, A flat is 4 keys. 4 flats. Okay. G sharp has how many sharps?
4.
You would think, right? But G sharp, here's where it gets kind of thrown off. G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, C sharp, E sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp, G sharp. Which key seems easier to deal with?
The A flat.
Yeah. Why?
Because it's less flats in it.
Less accidentals? And A flat doesn't have any double accidental notes. Like we have F double sharp and G sharp. So I would work in A flat. And there's another reason. Depending on the genre of tune, if this is going to have some horns in it, they would much rather play an A flat than G sharp, for the most part, because their instruments are flat based. Okay, so people ask me sometimes if I think in terms of sharps or flat keys when I'm working with inharmonic keys like C sharp or D flat, D sharp, B flat. For some reason, I just think in flat a lot. Just one of those things. It's kind of trivial, but then again, it can make a difference. So let's think of it in A flat. So what are the chords going to be? A flat,
major. B flat major minor. C minor. C sharp major.
Where did C? So
D flat major. E flat major. F minor. G diminished.
That's right. So those are your chords. So go ahead and play your tune, and I want you to hum the melody, okay? Because I want to hear the melody. Okay, so sometimes when you have a melody, it's good to pick out the notes on the piano so that you know the scale. Your opening chord progression of 1 to 3 is very good. It's very popular, very gospelish. One thing you can do, here's some gospel tricks. So you went 1 to 3, but you went back to 2, which is perfectly fine. If you would have went to 4, you could have gone A flat major instead of C minor, which is perfectly fine. You could have made this a dominant chord. Showing you some tricks. So try that one trick. Now I'm not trying to get you to change your tune at all, because what you did was fine, but just make the second chord, instead of C minor, make it C7. Also another gospel trick. 4, you can make so it's major, but then make it minor. So try the F to D flat, F to D flat, to D flat minor, to A.
Okay.
One more time, make the first D flat obviously major, so hold them like for half notes, like 1, 2, yeah, so you really hear the transition. Yeah, now do that. Bring it everything down an octave and do that the whole progression from F to D flat. Okay, so we just brought up 3 tricks. 1, make the 3 chord dominant. Yeah. You can take the 3 chord and lead it up to the 4. You went back to 2. That's fine, it doesn't really matter. But that's one trick. use the 5 chord in a cadence, or a 5/7 chord. Another trick is make the 4 chord minor. So pick and choose any of those that you like and you can include them, but you don't have to. So once you play with that for 1 second and just try it out. Also, dominant chords tend to do what? They do one of 2 things in general. Do you remember? It's the way they move.
They move to a 4 chord.
Or
A
so 5 chord would go.
A 5 chord would go to a 1 chord.
Right. So let's pretend we're in the key C, or let's put in the key C. So G7 would tend to go to down a 5th. So that's that's one of the answers, down a 5th. Another thing that dominant chords do in general is move a half a step. So in your tune, wherever there's a dominant chord, it can always go down a 5th. So we're in A flat. So where could this chord go to? Exactly what chord? Let's think the down a 5th one first. So C is the bass note of this chord. So just go down 5 notes in the scale. So start on C. So C is 1. So yeah, and in this key, F is what? So far, yeah. So listen to this, and it may not sound good, but we'll try it anyway. Not bad, right? Another one I was hearing in my head was after this F, I hear it going to so many different chords. F to go to B flat, B flat major, and B flat minor. So let me try a few of these. One other one I was hearing was yeah, I guess I was hearing the 4. Also, so here's what I'm doing. I'm kind of running away with this. So play the 1 chord. Good. Then the 3 dominant 3. Now this minor 6, just the regular F minor. Now from here we could do a lot. This could just walk down, so hold that chord. Play a B flat major chord. So I put a B flat in first inversion. Or let's do the F minor again. Then a D flat. Yes. Try those for yourself. So both hands play an A flat. Like you were playing at the beginning. Okay. And go to your C7. Go to your F minor. Now hold the F minor, but walk down to E flat. There you go. Okay, now start over. Go to your dominant 3. Now your F minor. Now walk down to E flat, but keep the F minor. So just, here, I'll do the bass for you. Now a D flat. Now make that minor. Now 1, 3. Back to 1, 2, 4, no 5, sorry. Start over. Okay, so those are a bunch of little different tricks.
Alright.
Okay, so here's all I did in that one last trick. And then I let my ear take over. So I went 1, 2, I took your minor 3 and made it a dominant. Dominants like to go down a 5th because dominants are usually the 5 chord. The 5 chords like to go down to their 1 chord. So this is called, anytime you take a chord in a key that's normally minor and you make it a dominant, it's called a secondary dominant. Because it's not supposed to be dominant, but you're forcing a dominant sound on it. So it's kind of pretending to be a dominant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Okay. It's a dominant in disguise.
Okay.
Okay, it's called a secondary dominant. But dominants are reserved for 5 chords. So this is going to pretend to be a 5 chord for just a second. It's going to go down a 5th, and C's 5 chord is, C is a 5 chord. What's its 1 chord?
G.
Close, it's F, but very good. So here's that sound. Now from here you can go. That's just one out of like 5 possible things I could think of. I'd let my ear take over at that point. So what I want you to do is I'm going to play this progression and I'm going to stop on this F. And I want you to hum the next bass note. For instance, like this. Okay, think you can do that? So I'll get you up to F. From that. Now what? That was the 4 chord. And you heard it. That's really good. That's really good, Prince. That's perfect. try a different one. Try going down. So this chord, what it is, it's not an E flat chord. If you play an F minor 7, what is the 7?
E flat.
Right. So all I'm doing is I'm playing F minor, and then I'm putting the 7th of the chord in the bass. So I'm not doing anything but going. I'm just adding it, but I'm adding it as a walking bass. And that gets us to D flat. Or another thing you can do, instead of D flat, what note could I go to? It's not D flat, but it's right next to it.
D.
Yes. And D is the 3rd in what chord? So you spell a chord that has D as the 2nd letter.
Oh, B flat, D, and F.
Mm-hmm. And the key of A, that's what? What chord is that?
The 2nd chord.
Right. So check this out. So in A flat, normally we have a D flat as the 4th. We're playing D natural, so but check out the sound. That's kind of cool too. So that's another little trick. So I've learned these by playing gospel, especially as a bass player. Being a bass player really helped me understand how the bass line can be the driving force behind the chord progression. Because when you hear a bass moving, I was letting the bass guide me through the chord progression. That's a trick that a lot of people probably don't know, except for bass players. Okay?
Okay.
So, that's probably something that may take you some time to pick up, but it's a good trick to have because, like I said, not too many people probably think of it that way. I would say bass players and pianists or arrangers generally know that trick.